there's three pillars in life that you have to recognize in your life, and that is the why of your life, the purpose in your life, and the love of your life. And at no time can those three things be the same thing.
What's up, world, and welcome to another episode of the Super Investor Show, where this show is for investors like you who realize it's good to learn from your own mistakes, but it's better to learn from others. And who else better than some of the smartest, wealthiest investors on this planet, which I have the pleasure of bringing closer to you. Now, on today's show, we have another good friend of mine, part of the Free T Warrior Academy. Now, you may recognize him as Homeless to Humble, but if you don't, you will recognize this man's presence when he enters the room. In his words, you will know he is that motherfucker. So I am giving you a warning on this show. There will be some cussing, but there's a deeper message behind it. And Tony Robbins actually talked about how swear words break past people's psyche. And if you use it tastefully, people will listen to deliver a message. This message today is being delivered by an expert, in my opinion, in trading in the crypto and foreign exchange space. So welcome up on stage, Billy.
What's up, my fam? How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. And I feel your presence even online.
It's real, bro. It's real.
It is. Now, look, Billy, I know who you are, and I tried my hardest telling the community who you were, but no one can introduce themselves better than the individual themselves. So how would you define Billy?
Oh, man. Who is Billy? Billy is just an ordinary guy, man, just trying to make it through the world. Got caught up at one time when I was a young guy, and then got lost in this crazy matrix of a world, and trying to be something that the world told me that I had to be. My camera's messing up. Trying to be something the world told me that I had to be, rather than something that I wanted to be. And it took a while for me to understand that I was the only person that could control any of it. People could have their opinions. People could say whatever they wanted to say, do whatever they wanted to do. At the end of the day, I had the ability to make the choices in my life, to make whatever life I wanted possible, no matter what it was. People told me for a long time I'd never travel. I'd never be outside the country because I'm a convicted felon. Uh, Bro, my passport's sitting right there, and I've been all over the place. People told me I'd never be a day trader because you need this, you need that. I've been day trading for 6 years now. Now I'm running through my second boot camp now, teaching people how to day trade. It's just one of those things that you can do anything in life as long as you put action into whatever it is that you're trying to do. And that's kind of who I am as a person. And I know this sounds crazy, but I'm a bully, man. I'm a bully in life. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it just purposely, just to see why I can't do it. Like, why are you telling me no? And that's where I think a lot of people need to go in life, is test your boundaries. Why can't you do the things that they say you can't do? Why is it that you can't leave your job and go do something else that you love? Like, what is really stopping you? And it's 9 times out of 10, it's just our own mindset.
Bro, so many gems there, and I'm always gutted that I only have 30 minutes with my guests, yourself included. But the thing that I want to pick out right there was, it sounds like you use negative energy to motivate you. Now, most people are in the camp of positivity, right? And especially as you work closely with Coach JV, would you say, Billy, that you do use that negative motivation? And if so, how do you use it day to day?
Well, that's a good one. That's crazy you picked up on that. So there's two types of fuel in life, man. There's negative fuel and there's positive fuel. Negative fuel burns hot, like it's fire, man. It'll get you fast. It'll get you where you need to be, but it's not sustainable and it's not long lasting, and it'll burn your core up. Like, you won't have anything left. The positive energy and the positive fuel is sustainable. It's long lasting. It's a clean burn. It might not get you there as quickly, and it may be a little boring to get there, and it may not be as fast, but it's going to be a straight line. It's going to be not as bumpy, and it's going to be very true. The type of life that I come from is very violent, very dark, man. didn't get to grow up in a lot of love and a positive light. So I had to use whatever fuel I had. And that fuel a lot of time was hate or just negative or just I could make someone and if you listen to Kobe Bryant, you listen to MJ, they would take people on their own team and make them a focus, not to do anything bad, not to do anything harmfully, but just to fuel themselves because something's got to drive you. And if you don't know what drives you, you don't know how to fuel yourself, then you don't know how to get to where you're going. Something has to push you. There has to be something there that pushes that consistency because you can have as much love and as much dedication and as much drive as you want. If that consistency is not there, you're not going to get anything out of life. And so you have to have something fuel you to get that consistency. So mine it was anger, man. It was dark places. I'd take something someone said to me and I would just drill it. And then I would prove them wrong on whatever it is. But there's a lot of negative connotations that come with that because then you end up doing something that you don't even love to do. You're doing something that you're doing just to piss someone else off, or you're doing it just to be an asshole. You're doing it just because you want to do it, not because the love is there. So when you learn that that's not a good fuel, it'll get you some places. Like I got a lot in my career. Like I was elevated in any position that I was in my career. I could elevate because I understand hierarchy, I understand leadership, I understand how to perform for leadership. Understanding who your leadership is and then performing for them. But you're never performing for yourself, so it's a different kind of fuel. So when you look at life and you're like, all right, where do I want to go and what do I want to do with life? Then you have to find something to fill that tank. So like with me, life was a negative energy, the matrix, the people. I'll just be real. I don't like people. Like most of the people out in the world are just assholes, man. They're just caught up in their own shit. They don't care about the next person. And it's just bad vibes, bad juju. You can't even, it's a whole negative thing. So I had to find people, man, that were good people, had positive vibes and that would celebrate me and not tolerate me, and then hold me accountable and love me at the same time, and then give me a space where I could be me and find out who I was, because I didn't know who I was for a long time. Like, you become, as you're growing up, you start out as a kid, then you become a young man, then you become a father, and then you get lost being a father for so long. When you stop being a father, you're lost in another reality and you try to find yourself because you're no longer the person who you were. You're a father. You're not Billy anymore, and you got to go back and find that person. So there's a journey that I had to go through. So whenever I started that journey to find, all right, how am I going to fuel this new part of my life moving forward? I had to find some people, and just lo and behold, dude, found Jay and Kev and the academy and everything. And it was life changing. At that same time, I went through my spiritual awakening, and I'll never forget it, bro. Opened my crown chakra in January before I joined the academy in August, and it was a crazy experience. My wife got to experience it with me, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, so that led me to the academy, and then I found good people who taught me how to love. Like I've never understood how you could just love somebody. How can you? I don't even know you, bro. Like how? But now that I've let those guards down and understand that I have to be vulnerable, right? In order for me to be loved, in order for me to love you, there has to be some vulnerability. I can't even say the word right. You know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, if I lead with my truth and I just, like you said, just be my authentic self, whatever that is, however that is, people will accept me for that. And if they don't, fuck them. It is what it is. I can only live my life to live my life. And then those people will come around, the people that are meant to be in my life. And then that's how I found, we get into Jay and we get into the academy and we get into the crypto team. I had no clue that God had that purpose ready for me. I just had to step into it. And that's where people get messed up sometimes is they think God's going to come save you. God's already saved you. He put you here. That's his plan. He gave you the choice. Like, what are you going to do? You have the choice to do whatever it is you want to do. And you want to sit here and wait for him to save you. And he's already put you here and saved you. Like, he's given you everything that you need to be a successful person, personally, business-wise, whatever. Why people can't do it, I know I'm going off on a tangent, my bad.
I love it, but you keep going, don't you worry.
The reason a lot of people can't get to where they want to get to is because they're scared of the struggle. The struggle is, I don't want to say defines you, but it's what builds your character is that struggle. The value of a man. I don't know if you've heard it before, but
I haven't. Tell me more though.
the value of a man is not determined until later in life, until the struggles he's went through. Because just like with your partner, when your partner's looking for a man, at least in our case of it, they want someone that can provide, someone that's strong, someone that's masculine, someone that they can take care of them, right? A man can't become that without struggles. You don't normally learn those things. So if more men can understand that, you have to embrace that fucking struggle, bro. Like if you go out and you seek it, like I tell people all the time, I said it when I first got in the academy, I'm coming for everything. I mean that. Like I'm taking it all. I want my joy. I want my happiness. I want my peace. I want my wealth. I want my abundance. I want my love. I want it all. And the only way that I'm gonna go through that is to go through every fucking struggle I got to get there. And the more struggles that I get out of the way and the more bullshit that I get out of the way is a clear path to right to where I'm going. And bro, since that time, I made a list of words because as I was saying before, when I came out of being a father, my sons are grown now. And I was trying to find this new person, this new man. But in that time, I made a lot of bad decisions, dog. Like a lot of bad decisions.
And you still will.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's now understanding that you have to make decisions and that the intent behind those decisions is what's going to guide you, right? But if you don't know what your struggles are and you don't know what your boundaries are, you don't know what your threshold is. Like you got to know what your tolerances are in life to be able to see where you need to go and see what's comfortable, what's not comfortable. Because what's always comfortable is not always good.
And pause. Everyone take that in. Wow. I feel bad for my editor because usually we chop up at least, maximum 3 clips. My goodness, Billy. Wow. A couple of things that I want to pull upon. One, and a short answer I think we'll do because I've got a few questions.
Okay.
How often do you pull into that negative energy to motivate you through the struggle?
When I can't find the positive energy. That's why I stay in the academy.
Okay, cool. I like that answer. Next is you talk about going through struggles with the academy. Now, I believe that life is a struggle and that mixed martial arts prepares you for life. So many parallels to it. What do you do on a daily basis to prepare you for life?
Ooh, you know what? I look at it differently now because I've already been through life. I don't have to prepare for it. Like life's when you, man, this is kind of.
I mean, it's not. That's a really good point, I believe, right there, because you're not wrong. Your disposition, where you started from, you've experienced probably struggles 90% of humans will never experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
God willing, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. When you've had another man look you in the face and say he's gonna put you in a box for 10 years, that's an experience of life that kind of humbles you. And yeah, all I do now is enjoy life. Like my biggest thing is being present. History was in the past. The present or the future, is a mystery, but right now is a present. So yeah, you got to be present right now. I'm not worried about anything else except me right now.
That's incredible, man. We think on the same wavelength. And finally, on the point of people who you realize now you're not trying to satisfy everyone. Chase 2 rabbits, end up catching none. How did you come to peace with that? Because that's not easy. And there may be some people right now who are going through that transition period, especially as we're now talking about 2023. Some people may have lost a lot of people. They may have lost followers. They may have lost colleagues. How did you deal with losing friends, family members who you thought were close?
Yeah.
Because
no, I got something perfect for you, man. This is epic. So there's 3 pillars in life that you have to recognize in your life, and that is the why of your life, the purpose in your life, and the love of your life. And at no time can those 3 things be the same thing. All right. So, and I'll tie this back to some history. I was married for 20 years. My wife and my kids were my why, my purpose, and my love, right?
Hmm.
My wife left me. So I lost my why, my purpose, and my love. My kids wouldn't talk to me because they didn't understand what was happening between their mother and father. And then I became homeless, right? So I literally had none. I'm a four-time felon who lost his wife of 20 years, his career of 10 years, and all his kids. Wouldn't talk to me because they didn't understand the situation, and then life presented itself to me. So when God saved me, um, he did. He showed me the three pillars that I have to have: the why, the purpose, and the love. So here's how you have to structure it. The why in your life should always be you. All right. And why I say that is because your why will never leave if it's you. If your why is anything else, it can leave you, whether it be a woman, a child, a thing, divorce, death, whatever. If your why is you, it'll never leave until you go meet your father. That's it. And then you have your purpose and you have your love. All right. So the love of my life is my wife, hands down. The purpose of my life is to change as many lives as possible while I'm here. Those three things. So now I have those three things. I have a balance, right?
Yeah.
So now what I've done is I have my why and my love. Now I can put the point and create a triangle and go in a direction with my purpose. So if any of those get off balance, I can switch one out with the other. But if I ever tie them all up in one thing and it goes, you're fucked. Like you have no way to stabilize yourself. But if you have those three things and you understand those three and you keep them separate, if something was to ever happen, like your purpose goes away, you get fired from your job. You can depend on the love of your life and the why you're here until you find your purpose again. But if your love, leaves, then you can focus on your purpose and your why. But the one thing that'll never leave is your why. As long as you have that why, you're good, bro.
Billy, usually on the show, I ask two questions. Usually on this show, we segue. I'm not doing that today. I hope you don't mind, man. We're going to go all the way up to half hour
Go
and
ahead.
we're going to see where you take this. So thank you for that. I say it personally. I sit here as well with some reassurance that thankfully one single thing isn't all three. I think there's a few people at home who can relate with why having multiple identities helps them through life, right? And I used to be like that too. I didn't have my why, purpose, and love necessarily, but I had, hey, the athlete,
Mm.
the entrepreneur, and then let's take that final one, and let's say interviewer, right? So I had these three things, right? Athlete, entrepreneur, interviewer. So whenever being an athlete was going wrong, I got injured. It's like, cool. Just how you said, it's okay because I'm Jordan, the interviewer today. I'm one of the best people in the world of communicating. And then let's just say I had a horrible show. Cool. Let's get back into the business. Hey, revenue's awesome, marketing, sales. And so I feel a lot of people can relate in that sense, right? Your business isn't doing too well, don't worry, you're a husband. But I personally, at least now, I never had the clarity of why were those three identities helping me with different challenges. But more importantly, those three identities, they weren't strong enough, right? Because like you just said, Billy, although I could get injured, cool, well, I could get injured. The pandemic can come, right, and kill my business. And then finally, I could lose my voice for a week and I can't interview anyone, right? Or my show doesn't get traction. And now I'm like, oh, I'm not a good interviewer. And suddenly, in an instant, all three of my identities have collapsed
Mm.
because I never realized, Billy, that key point you pointed out, which was, hey, they were all loves and passions, but they weren't a why. And that why, like you just said, has to be you. And I want to throw this to you, Billy, because I know there'll be people thinking this. Maybe they won't say it out loud in the comments. I've got a partner. My partner will never leave me. How can I say that, hey, I'm a constant and permanent, but my partner isn't? What would you say to those people saying it's actually quite negative? You're saying, hey, I'm never going to leave me.
Well, I mean, it just, you have to identify what type of relationship you have. Like, are you based on a religious relationship? Like, who is your higher power? Um, are you guys on an even field? Who, at the end of the day, when there's a leadership role, there has to be a leadership role, right? In order for me to be the best version for her, like my wife, I even told my wife, and we had this conversation.
I
So
like the way you're going with this
yeah,
already.
so like even with my ring right here, it has my name. It shows that I'm a king, and it shows the my sword. Has Buddha on one side and then the warrior helmet on the other.
That's
And when I got this, she got mad. She's like, "Are you gonna wear that all the time?" I said, "Every damn day." I was like, "You know what?" And I'll tell you this. She got kind of, I probably shouldn't have said it. I was like, "This probably means more to me, and it's probably more important to me than this one." And she got mad. She's like, "Why?" I said, "Because if I don't remember who this man is, he won't be able to take care of the woman that this man is." I was like, "So, it is very important for me to remember who I am because I can get caught up real quick, man. It ain't nothing but a switch or a moment to flip back to who that person was because it's a lot easier to fuel on hate. Like it is what it is. When you come from a dark world, it's a lot easier to turn off the light and just go, rather than turn on the light and see everything that you have to do. So it's a completely different energy. Um, so making sure that they understand that it's not a selfish reason that it's a why. I love you so much that I have to be the best person that I can be, and the only way that I can do that is by loving myself. But I have to love God, myself, and then you. All right, and it has to go, or higher power, whatever your higher power is. Then me and then you, and it goes in that direct correlation. It's just because I mean, if we just look at it statistically, your wife's going to leave you. I mean, my wife will leave me. Statistically, if that's what we look at, data and numbers, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a trader. I like crypto. So, I understand analytics and statistics, but that's not what I go by. But I understand what it is. The one thing that I know without a shadow of a doubt that my God gave me is fucking me. He put me here for me. Everything else is to build for him, to show him how much I love him, and to be as happy as I can and joyous as I can, because that's why he put me here, to be joyous, to be purposeful, and to change people's lives. And the only way that I can do that is if I understand and know the man that I am, and that is the man that she has today.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing the conflict that you did have, because I know there may be some people after watching this who will subscribe and be like, wow, I understand your message. And then they'll try and have that conversation with their spouse, husband or wife, and they may not. And like you said, I've heard it as well in Christianity that, hey, God above everything else, right? And so I know people who most probably, I want to say if we had put 100 people in a room, right, if split the room in half, 50% are Christian, 50% are agnostic, right? Don't subscribe to any religion. The Christian group who have that conversation most likely will go down more successfully. Right? Because like you just said, when you have that paradigm, that understanding, the message doesn't get misconstrued. Right? You can imagine, Billy, if I put in the title, the thumbnail right now, "Love yourself more than your wife."
Oh, you're gonna get all kind of clicks.
Exactly. One, it'll get probably clickbaity, and people won't even get to this part 23 minutes in to really understand the message. The difference is the message is the same, but the understanding, and there'll be people who still listen to you, Billy, who still won't get it. And what would you say to people like that?
You know what? I didn't think about that. That's a good way to put it too. That's a good. Sit down with your spouse, with your partner, whoever it is, and ask them who they love more. And then what is their why? If at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if the other person was to leave, what would you do with your life? Your life is not to live for other people.
And
Your
when you
life
say
is to
leave, Billy,
serve other people.
jump in if you don't mind me.
No,
When
go
you
ahead.
say leave, because I think that clarification is really important, I'm also thinking death. Are you understanding?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not that the person will leave you, but sometimes you don't have that choice, and it could be abruptly, and that's some of the most painful
Yeah.
emotions you can have. and then your why is gone, your love, your purpose, your why gone like that. And that, I don't want that for my wife. If something was
Mm,
to happen for me and I'm tied up in her why, then she's going to be devastated if something happens to me. Just like, I tell my wife all the time, if you are looking for me to make you happy, we need to file the divorce papers now, because that's not my job. My job is to love you, provide for you, make sure that I put a smile on your face every fucking day, to make sure that you're taken care of, to make sure that I lead you and be the man that I'm supposed to be for you. But it is not my job to make you happy. That is your job. You have to find that happiness. Um, and when you start making yourself your why, like, why do you get up every day? Don't get up for me. Get up because you love yourself and God has a plan for you. Get up because you want better for yourself. Get up because you've lived a purposeful life and you need to show people that are watching. Because I promise you, someone out there is having a hard time that needs an example. And my wife, she's a powerful woman. She's
I bet she.
powerful, bro. And it's just, you have to be honest with each other. You can love each other, but have a real relationship. Even if you don't believe in God, just remove that part of it. And even if you don't believe in a higher power, how are you going to function if that person dies today? Like, are you going to be able to manage? Are you going to be able to deal with your life and be able to function? It's not a bad thing to say that you can function, that you will get through, and do the things that you need to do. Because that's what I want. People take death as a bad thing. I look at it a little differently. I take death as it's the next step. So, like, all the people that's died before me, they took that next step. They're just waiting on me to take finish out my path and my time here in this spirit, you know, this physical realm, so I can get to the next spiritual realm, and then I can lead an even better life, whatever that looks like. None of us
Mm.
know what it looks like. We have ideas, but I just have to understand, for me to live the best life here, and for anybody to live their best life and their truthful life and their happiest life, they have to live it based on their why. Like, why do they get up every day? Why do they go to work? Why do they choose and make the choices that they choose? And typically, if you make your decision based upon other people's wants and other people's whys, you're going to be miserable.
And to add on to that, your relationship with your partner isn't always going to be constant,
No,
right?
absolutely.
And in the sense that, hey, you have an argument, and we've all been there. Anyone who's got a partner for a split moment or for a couple of days, they're not your favorite person anymore, right? I say that to my partner. We learn. I used to say, hey, I really don't like you right now, and that used to hurt her. So I used to stop saying that. I used to say, hey, you're not my favorite person right now. Please, I need some space, and that we've come to a compromise on. But in those moments, hey, you're not wrong, Billy. If she was my why, and she's not my favorite person right now, that means I'm not going to the gym. That means I'm not going to go do the research I need to do. That means everything else stops. And as selfish from one lens as it sounds, no, life must continue.
Hmm.
There's also another lens which says how selfless it is, because if we really go down into the micro, Billy, you have an argument with your spouse, which I'm sure still happens, and then you go straight back to the chart, so you make some money, which eventually comes back to her. Now that is a real head fuck for some people, right? Because it's like, wait a minute,
Right?
you just had an argument, but you go back to work, and you may put your mind all on work. But at the end of the day, the reality is you're making more money that in that moment is going to go back to her.
Exactly. Well, you could look at it. You could look at it another way too. So when you talk to them and you're going over your why and your purpose and your love, and you tell them, I'm my why. You are my love of my life. Well, then
Yeah.
sit there and have a real conversation. I know me and you talked about this before. Sit there, either with your wife or your partner, and you sit there with each other and close your eyes and think about that person dying. Think about that person dying in a car wreck. Think about that person having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Picture burying them. Picture putting them in an urn, putting them on your necklace, whatever it is, and then activate on that love. How much love you have for them, and show them that love. And the more love that you show them, that's genuine, that's true, they're not going to care about the why. The why is for you, right? The why is yours. They're at the end. Women are emotional creatures, so if you tell them that, they're gonna react. But you don't even have to tell them; just live it, um, and then make them the love of your life. If they're your purpose, I have issues with your a person being a part of your purpose, other than maybe a child, because again that can leave, and purposes and loves change. Your why should never change. Your why should never change. Purpose and love, that kind of gets mixed up sometimes throughout the years. But yeah, if they have an issue with it and it's something they're not comfortable with it, just saturate them with love, bro. Just engulf them with love, and then they'll be even more comfortable with the why, because they'll see that when you changed your why to yourself, you loved me more. Yeah.
Man, Billy, I really do hope that people have come here, of course, expecting to make more money listening to the show. But as we do, at least with my mission on the show, is make people realize, hey, you can have all the strategies. Hey, and of course, they can go follow you on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. But at the end of the day, what's happening in life will dictate if you even show up to that monitor. Will dictate if your partner isn't shouting or hollering whilst you're trying to, deploy one of these strategies and techniques. Right? And more importantly, when you are deploying these strategies and techniques, which again, they can follow you to find out more, and I'll make sure you have a plug in just a second, which is, it's not always going to work. I hate to tell everyone, hey, even Billy doesn't have techniques that always work. What's your why? What's your passion? What's your love that's going to keep you learning, keep you committed to Billy's strategies, or even developing your own ones? So thank you, Billy, for taking us down this journey, man. It's something I didn't realize I needed to hear. But now that I know, I'm so happy and proud that other people do.
Glad to be here, bro. I'm glad you got something out of that. It felt good, man. I didn't even realize I needed to say all that.
Good. Hey, most people that come on say, hey, this felt therapeutic.
It did, yeah, it really did. Yeah.
I love to hear that, man. Now, coming back to the show, one last thing that I want to give to the audience, of course, is a message from yourself. Before we do so, you've gotten this far, please subscribe, please like, because we've got more cool people like Billy coming on the show, and you don't want to miss that. So, now that's out of the way. Billy, what's one last thing you would love everyone to remember?
That tomorrow's not promised. As soon as we hit this button, it could all be done. You could lay down tomorrow and not wake up. The person next to you could lay down tomorrow and not wake up. Tomorrow is not promised. Whatever it is that you want to do, say, or be, fucking do it. The only thing you have to do is step into it, whether it be greatness, whether it be into a career, whether it be into a relationship. Just step into it, because, the worst thing could happen. You could be fucking successful. Damn, go figure.
As a Stoic, Billy, you put it better put than any other meditation quote I've ever heard, bro.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, man. I love you too. And I believe as well that at any moment we can leave. Right? And would you be proud doing what you're doing? Like you said, man, whilst you are here, go step into it.
Absolutely.
Go step into it. Powerful. Billy, where can people stay connected with you, sir?
Stay connected you can go to Homeless to Humbled on TikTok. All my socials are Homeless to Humbled, TikTok, Instagram, except Facebook. You can get me at Billy Wadkins at Facebook. Just don't stalk me too crazy, because I will stalk you. just
But really quickly, that's really interesting. I don't think I know many educators or anyone on the show that have plugged their personal Facebook. Is it your personal or is that a page?
Yeah, it's my personal. I'm an open book, man. What you see is what you get. I want the whole world to see. Like, you can just be you and be authentic and still have a life out there and let people see it. You just got to be careful. Just remember, everything you do in the dark comes to light. So just always be careful. But I'm an open book, man.
Preach. Love to hear it, Billy. Love to hear it. No, man. Blessings and thank you.
Namaste, fam. Love you, bro.